Good evening, everyone. We are starting with breaking news tonight on the horrific case of abuse involving an incapacitated patient. Hundreds of pages of a newly released police report answering new questions in the case of the patient who was raped and gave birth at Hacienda Healthcare. Good evening. I'm Tram Mai.
And I'm Mike Gonzalez. Mark and Caribe have the night off. Let's check in with Team 12's William Pitts, who has uncovered brand new information about the man police say is responsible and whether the security measures were followed or not. William?
Well, security guards told police security could have definitely been better, but the staff told police there were safeguards in place to check on the patients. They couldn't imagine how this happened.
Every employee, and there were dozens interviewed, told police they couldn't understand how the victim could have been raped. They told police that the victim was only supposed to have female caregivers, though different people interpreted that rule differently. Some told police they didn't think it applied to nurses. The family's notice of claim said they were told there would be no male staff interacting with the victim. Multiple people also told police they couldn't believe no one had been caught in the act. They said there were people opening doors all the time, entering rooms. And more than one employee told police Hacienda even had mandatory safety checks of all patients every 15 minutes, though another employee admitted sometimes those checks could be skipped. When Nathan Sutherland was arrested, employees who knew him told police they were shocked, but that they had noticed a change in his appearance. He used to be well-groomed, go to the gym, they said. But just before December, that changed. He was more withdrawn, didn't talk as much, let himself go. That was just before the baby was born, and the investigation started.
And staff also told police they reported the patient had a distended stomach multiple times to their supervisors and doctors. In one case, an X-ray was ordered that could possibly have detected the pregnancy, but the report does not say what happened to that X-ray. William Pitts, 12 News.
William, thank you. If you have tips about this story, please email the 12 News I-team at connect@12news.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter as well.